welcome everyone. So this is fourth period AP Chemistry. And so if you heard anything about AP Chemistry, this is known as the hard class, and I'm the hard teacher. So being that this is a difficult class, it's probably because I have to move at a very fast pace since we don't have the same amount of time as the regular school year. The AP test is in May, first Monday of May. So this year, there's a spring break the last week of April. So that means I don't even see them and they come back to school and go, here's an AP test, good luck. So hopefully you guys can keep them on task and review and study. So when they come back on Monday morning at 7, they'll be ready for the test.
Is that immediately after school break?
Pretty much, yes.
Yeah.
This is the first year that they changed the schedule to be earlier. It's always been second Tuesday of May. But then they changed it. So anyway, I always manage to finish all the topics they need to do well. But this year is one of the years I'm worried about because they have the whole week off. Usually they have a whole week off in the beginning of April, and then I still see them and I, work on it and be done. So that's the only major concern I have for this year. But in terms of getting all the materials covered, we're going to be covered and they'll be ready for the test. So this is the book that we're using. So this is a first year college level text. So if you go to any colleges, some of them are using it. For example, I know Stanford, the first year they use the same textbook. And other colleges as well. But once they take AP Chemistry, they will do pretty well when they take the college chemistry again. I have a lot of students that come back and say, yeah, this is really useful compared to a lot of students who are still trying to figure out how to do it when they can actually take it easy a little bit and still do very well. So why is this class so hard? First is the time. Second off is we have to cover a lot of materials, and the materials are not easy, so that's why it takes a lot of effort on the students' part to study and do well. So I don't see a lot of students here. It's probably because they have a homework assignment that's due tomorrow. So if you wanted to know what homework assignment, this is the calendar that tells you what will be covered each week. And the students have it, so you don't have it. So if you want to find out, you can just ask them to show you the chemistry calendar. And also, they have the homework assignment for the whole year already, like in all the chapters from the book. So that one they already have. So that's why if you go, are you on chapter 3? Then you can ask them what questions are on chapter 3. That one is, they always got a handout for that. So, but the most interesting piece of information that you want to find out is how your kids doing. So I still use Teacher Web for this. Other teachers use something else, but I still use Teacher Web. So that's why as long as you remember teacherweb.com, and I am the Mr. Lee, there's a Miss Lee, so make sure you choose the right one. Then you'll be able to find my website on Teacher Web. And when you get to Teacher Web, to my website, you can find this part right here. This is online grades. This is where I post the grades of your student. So if you know the student name and the student ID, you punch it in exactly the way you're supposed to, you will be able to see the grade. So what does it look like when you do it exactly? So this is what it looks like. If you go over here to Newsflash, you can click on that, and here is the format right here on the bottom. It says Smith, comma, John, and then the student ID. That's the format, that exact format that you have to use. Basically, it's capital letter, lowercase letter, comma, space, capital letter, and then student ID. And if it doesn't work, and you try at least 3 times, because I don't answer any student question unless you try at least twice. So I expect the same from the parents too. Anyway, if it doesn't work, because usually it's kind of frustrating, you try a few times and it still doesn't work, just email me and I'll send you the exact version that I have on my gradebook, so you can just copy and paste. That usually works much better as well if you get stuck, because this is kind of very finicky. You have to do it just right. So that's probably going to be the hardest part about grades, if it doesn't work for you. And sometimes you just do it once and it works and you don't have any trouble. So that's why you want to do that. Okay, so other than that, these 2 parts, the rest is designed for students. So for example, for AP Chemistry, this is for students to click. But if you want to click, you can see in here I have uploaded some files that they can use. For example, we did our first lab today, and one of the things they have to do is now to make a lab report. I'll write it up, and it's due next Tuesday. So they have a weekend plus extra day, and they can download this. Tell them what the format looks like. And then over here is the homework problem set that I told you about. It will be the whole year. Like I said, they have a handout already, but in case you're stuck, and you're at an airport or something and you want to know your homework, as long as you get Wi-Fi, you can figure out what homework you got to do. Okay, so other than that, this is just information that you already have. This is the syllabus right here. And that was the syllabus that I sent home with students the first day of class. So if you might have put your name on it, because that was the first assignment. They have to get your parent signature, turn it back in to get extra, to get the points. So that's why everybody started out the year very happy, because that was the easiest assignment. They all did really well. And you helped them with that, so good job. Okay, so basic information is like, okay, what is this class, what's the grading scale, and late work policy, all that stuff. But probably as a parent, you might want to just look at this part right here. Because pretty soon I will be giving the next test. We just finished the chapter 1, 2 test. And for the most part, they did pretty well. But it doesn't get any easier than that. Now all the tests is going to get a little bit tougher. And one of the things that students struggle the most is adjusting to the time factor. So in this class, I tell them exactly how much time they have to do something. They have to meet that. So it's kind of like running the mile. You have to be able to run a certain time. Same thing with the problems and quiz and the test. You have to be able to do it in a certain amount of times. Now, students generally follow this simple policy when they for most classes. They go to class, they do the homework, they come take the test, and they usually do pretty good. Now, that works for most classes except for AP Chemistry. If it's AP Chemistry, you go to class, you study your notes, and you do the homework, and you might pass the class, if that's all you do. So the additional steps that they need to do is, after you do your homework, they need to pick a random questions from the book and see if they can do it. After they see they can do it, then they have to see how long it took them to do it. Because if they can do the problem, but it took them 10 minutes, when the time you have for it is 2 minutes, then they're gonna not do so well. So generally, that usually will show as a question as, how are you doing in class? I go, not so good. And then you go, do you understand chemistry? The answer usually, yeah, I understand chemistry, but I just don't do so well on the test. If you get this answer, I know chemistry, but I don't do well on the test. First factor to try to fix is the time factors. So when you practice, like I said, finish your homework, practice, pick a problem, and then start the timer. If you finish it, great, and then see how long it takes you to do it. Okay, if it says 10 minutes, okay, now you got to pick another one. Next time, try to do it under 5 minutes, and then so forth until you can get it down to the appropriate amount of time that will allow you to do well on the test. So that's usually what students will automatically have trouble with. Once they can make this adjustment to having a shorter amount of time, then they can actually find themselves doing much better. If they don't make the adjustments, they're going to have a hard time for the rest of the year. That's just what this class is like for that part. Yes?
What is taking time? Calculation? Or searching their memory?
Well, it's kind of like this. I give you a problem, I go, okay, now go. So in going through that process to solving that problem, you have to know which concept to use, which equation to use, and then be able to write it out. So each one of those is a time factor. So one of the things you can definitely improve on is the concept. If you already know the concept, when you see a problem, you go, aha, this is the concept, you use this method, then you don't have to get stumped and think about, okay, if you do this, okay, what do I do after this? Because when you see something, you can actually organize the information in your head, and then all you got to do is write it up. That's the fast way. The slow way with most students that when they start out is learning something is, here's the information I have, now what do I do with this? And then you go, okay, I finished this, now what do I do now to get the next step? So what that usually means is you need to be able to anticipate about 3 steps ahead, not just like 1 step at a time. And that is what is going to help you with the time. So that's why I say just give them a problem. There's a lot of the chemistry problems like calculations, some are concept only. And just ask them, how long, or you can do the same, just find and see how long it takes them to do that problem. And then from then, you can see, because some areas students might be weak on the calculation, then you can work on the calculation. Some areas weak on the concept, then you work on the concept.